Hello everybody and welcome to the HMweather service here in Roswell, Georgia. Sorry about the logo up there. It seems to be a little bit more blurry than normal. I, for some reason, cannot find the original, and so it just, until I can find it, unfortunately we are stuck with a blurry logo. Uh, but as we can tell, we have a freeze warning in effect tonight. We'll be dropping down to probably about 31, 32 degrees, and we'll also be seeing a warming trend after that. So let's get right into it. Current conditions out there, it's about 50 degrees. I have 52 degrees here with humidity about 24, dew point about 14. Winds have been gusting to probably about 20, 25 miles an hour, but really sustained around that 12 to 14 mile an hour mark. And it was a bit gusty out there earlier. Wind chill around 45 degrees. Visibility perfect. These observations were taken by the National Weather Service at 4:53 this afternoon. Now let's look at our 7-day forecast. As you can see here, we're going to drop below freezing tonight. In fact, some areas south of the city are actually going to be a little bit colder than up here in the metro area. The mountains are going to be cold. South of the city is going to be colder. In the metro area, in fact, in Atlanta, it may not drop below freezing, and that's because you have all those massive concrete structures that just radiate heat and hold in that heat, so it's harder to get below freezing. But then on Friday, we're going to see a nice warm up to about 64 degrees. Friday night, about 44. Then the showers move in again, and Saturday night into Sunday night, we're definitely going to see that chance of showers pop up again. Maybe a few rumbles of thunder, but mainly just showers. Temperature staying in the mid to lower 60s, lows in the upper to lower 40s, and as you can see on Monday night, we're going to drop back down to about 36. But in fact, looking at the rest of our 7-day forecast after tonight, it's really going to stay above freezing. In fact, some thunderstorms could be on the way past our 5-day forecast, more into like the 7 to 10-day forecast. But obviously those are unofficial at this point because a lot of things are going to change as we progress through time. But let's move on and talk about this freeze warning that's in effect tonight. And so here's a graphic from the National Weather Service. This came out at about 3:18 p.m. this afternoon. And as you can see, lows in the upper to lower 30s, including the region around South Georgia and up into those mountains areas. That's where you're going to get the coldest temperatures. Mainly in the metro area, you're going to see anywhere from 33 down to maybe about 30. The western side of the state is going to remain in the lower 30s as well. But basically the entire area of the Peachtree City National Weather Forecast Office is in that freeze warning that goes through tonight and through 10 a.m. Tomorrow. It goes into effect at 10 p.m. tonight. And the main impacts, we're not worried about any like frozen roads or anything because there's no precip, there's no moisture. As I already said, the humidity is about 30%, so there really isn't any moisture in the atmosphere. So you're mainly looking at it killing early vegetation. I saw some nice flowers that were already growing out on some of the trees today, and unfortunately when you drop below freezing you start to kill that, and so a lot of plants may be impacted. That's why I do not recommend planting just yet. It's the 13th of March, and I would still wait a little bit longer before you start planting some of those early spring plants. In fact, the spring solstice, I mean, the solstices are really winter and summer, but when spring officially begins is only about a week away. So that's when maybe we can start planting some of that springtime vegetation. All right, here is the National Weather Service's warning map for the state of Georgia. As you can see in the purple area, which covers all of north, central, and pretty much all of South Georgia, in that freeze warning tonight, you can ignore the special weather statement, the hazard weather outlook, and the hydrological outlook. Those are all different meteorological outlooks that are sent by the National Weather Service. But what we're looking at tonight is that freeze warning in the purple. All right, now let's look at the overall temperatures for winter. This is December through February. Obviously, you have to count part of March in there because part of March is still winter. But looking at some of these cold temperatures, In fact, all through the middle portion of the country, you had it was below to much below average, and in some states like Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, uh, Michigan, Indiana, all of those states, and including Oklahoma and Missouri, all those states were almost hit record cold temperatures. And then we move on over to California and the West Coast, some of the record warmest. So it's been a very volatile winter. You had the drought conditions in California that are devastating, and then when you had all that rain and all the mudslides and flooding that occurred there, it was pretty bad. But then on the other side, you had some of the coldest temperatures on record in those midwestern northern states. Now, if you look at down here into the southeast, you see Florida was above average, not much above average, but above average, and Georgia, Carolinas, Virginia. Although Carolinas and Virginia got a lot of snow this winter, near average on the temperature scales, including Northeast. Those were near average as well. Only northwestern state to have below average temperatures was Washington State. Now let's look at February's temperatures. So these are statewide temperature rankings again. 1 being the coldest, the 120th being the warmest on record. As you can see, the Midwest, including Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin, all once again near much below average temperature. Not the record coldest, but getting very close. 6 is not very far away from 1. So then if you look over to the west again, some of the much above average temperatures. Once again, not the record warmest, but much above average there in the west. They move on down to the southeast. You have above average to near average temperatures. You have Georgia 77th warmest on record, 77th in South Carolina, 71 in North Carolina. So, are you tired of winter overall? It's been a very, very volatile winter here in the southeast, including 2 ice storms. The first one was snow, mainly snow. The second one was mainly ice. Followed par with my original predictions at the beginning of the winter. And as you can see in this picture, this one was taken during a snow jam, and it shows the road completely glazed over with ice, and that's a pretty beautiful picture for an iPhone. I really love the camera on the 5S. A little plug for Apple there. So if you look at that road, it's completely iced over. I literally standing in the middle of the road. That there was only one car that I saw even trying to traverse it that morning. But it obviously cleared up, but it did cause us to be out for a good 4 days, that first one, and then 3 days on the second one. So when will it stay spring? Now that's a very hard question to answer because as we've known in the past, in fact back in I believe it was 1999, we had a huge ice storm in April, which isn't out of the question, but I really do think that's not likely for this winter. And in fact today, March 13th, back in 1993, Atlanta had one of the biggest snowstorms on record. It was called Superstorm 1993. And it completely it was a whiteout all over the city. I can't remember, well, I wasn't alive to remember, but I do not remember from reading the historical records on whether a blizzard warning was issued or not. But it was very, very blowing snow everywhere, complete whiteout conditions at times. A lot of snow accumulated on that day. And I do believe that as we go further into spring, it will warm up, and that's not a very profound statement to make. But I do think that as time goes on, we'll see it warm up. So please follow us on Twitter at HMweather, Facebook, facebook.com/HMweather, ZachWeather.com, which is currently out of date. I try to update it, but if it slips behind me, weather, something that has to be updated every day, in fact probably about every hour, and I'm envious of the Weather Channel that they have computers that can update it for them. I have to do it manually, and so it gets out of date from time to time. But I try to keep up with it. But if you follow us on Twitter, that's where we post all of our most up-to-date forecasts, most up-to-date warnings, and on email, ZacharyLida@att.net. You're more than welcome to email me anytime with a weather-related question, or if you need a personal forecast for a certain area, I will be happy to give it to you as soon as I can. It may take me a little while, but I try to respond ASAP. So I thank you for watching this broadcast on the changing weather conditions. Remember that that freeze warning in effect tonight, and so from 10 p.m. tonight to 10 a.m. tomorrow, look out for temperatures below or near freezing, and protect your vegetation. If you can bring it inside, that'd be great. If you have to leave it outside, sometimes covering it with something might help keep some of the frost or some of the cold away from it, keep it a little bit warmer. So thank you again, and stay safe.